I want to make this video about 2017 psychic predictions, forecasts, and I would also like to look at my video for psychic predictions of 2016 and see what came true or not. Okay, so not everything that I said in the psychic predictions of 2016 came true. Some came true to an extent, but what I was seeing, all the foundations or all the trends and reasoning that went into those predictions became public knowledge. Means that now when I made the predictions, nobody thought in that direction, but now there is overwhelming amount of evidence that these things are the underlying currents. Okay, the first predictions I made that is that by the time 2017 rolls around, there will be no place where ISIS will be functioning, and it has come true to a very large extent, and that's they lost Aleppo, they lost Mosul, and there is a tremendous public opposition and hostility towards their organization and the people that finance them, like the United States, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia, and they have lost a great deal of territory, and their future is very dubious and questionable if they will exist. I very much doubt that with the stuff they have done, that the humanity would want to see them around in any time soon. I think that 2017 will be the year that they are just completely wiped out, and even people will go after the countries that they supported and sponsored them. The other prediction was the financial collapse, and I mean, if you look at internet, you see that everybody and their mother are forecasting economic collapse, and stock market and bonds market collapse. In fact, there were huge sell-offs in bonds markets, and every good analyst is predicting stock market correction. Uh, so that was the second one. It almost or mostly came true, and first one too mostly came true. And then the third forecast or prophecy was that many U.S. politicians, Israeli, and what's the Saudi politicians will get assassinated, and even though it has not physically come true, but I still am sticking by this forecast and this prophecy because all the reasons that went into this analysis, and they became public. Everybody knows about it. In the last year, the Congress and Senate passed the resolutions that allow private parties to sue Saudi Arabia for 9/11 involvement, and also the United States lost their involvement in Aleppo and helped with ISIS. So there is also a great deal of hostility inside Saudi Arabia towards the United States for not doing more to help them win in Aleppo in helping ISIS. And the other trend that came and was underlying cause for this analysis was that Hillary Clinton, who was the architect of Friends of Syria and was really the linchpin in the U.S. government that helped these terrorist organizations. She lost the election and she does not have any political capital. And in the future, if Trump makes it to the White House, she might face prosecution, and then there probably is going to be an internal coup, or I don't know what they call killing each other in the political terms. Well, one analyst, Miss Catherine Fitz, calls it information management. Maybe part of the U.S. government or the secret police state that runs this place will do a little information management and kill off a bunch of politicians to hide what they have done in the past, or to suppress Trump. Or I am sticking by my original analysis that there will be a mafia type assassination of politicians, some mass scale, like many in one time, like a genocidal, and some individually. Uh, I think that the future of the U.S. government is similar to what was depicted in the series Lost, where at some point the others, or the, I don't know what camp the others would be here, maybe the Trump camp or the Hillary camp, with all the Arab terrorist backers, the Qataris. They will do a job on the other camp. Uh, basically, uh, basically this analysis, even though it did not come completely true, but all the tectonic shifts and underlying causes that were the basis for that analysis and prediction are still here, and they have become public. A lot of people know about it, and they will go on, and it will take a it will happen in some form. But the other thing that is shocking, and I myself was not entirely aware of it, but I was aware of it on an individual basis because I'm a psychic and a medium, but I didn't know that the whole society is going to find out about it. Is that because of all the advances in information technology and the internet, is impossible to hide secrets. And in fact, many government actions and procedures and stuff politicians do, they will become public in one form or another. And this was plainly manifested to me when the WikiLeaks released all these documents regarding Hillary Clinton, and she lost the election because of all these disclosures. And the American people were just took a very dim view of what she had been doing. Also, I want to mention the fact that many of her aides and friends, they have names, and they have associations that suggest these people came from Iran's old ruling government. Like, for example, Padesa sounds Persian. It sounds that he belongs to the old Shah Darbar, or is connected in some way. Or her aide's name Homa is a Persian name and suggests the connection to the Iranian royalty. I guess she was planning to overthrow all these foreign governments, and she was recruiting Iranians who were related to Shah, and had an interest in overthrowing Iranian government. And it just shows that when nature or God decides that an animal or a political animal must go extinct because they are doing too many evil things and too many uh, their their actions is contrary to public interest. Uh, they will go extinct regardless of what help or benefit they get from other countries. And the religion of Islam does not endorse or promote these deep forms of corruption, and there is within the Islamic law there is the code to deal with these characters. Also, what very sad was that many such individuals are either gay, openly gay, or secretly gay, or they are child molesters, or they involve themselves in satanic rituals. I think they, they will go extinct in one form or another because the our universe is governed by spiritual laws and spiritual forces, and they are contrary to what God wants. Well, that's just a very simple interpretation of events. I do not think that the United States government and the individuals that are the significant players, they will survive all the stuff they've done. And in one form or another, things will turn very sour. Also, in the last days of his presidency, Obama is doing many crazy things to try to dump Trump, and we don't know even if Trump who comes into power, he would be any better than Obama, because Obama started with this premise that, oh, I'm a man of peace and I will do all these things, I will stop the wars, I have my Nobel Peace Prize, and he started more wars and has caused more problems in the world stage. He brought us to a nuclear standoff with Russia than any other president. I mean, Bush didn't do as much, and we don't know if Trump comes in, he won't do even worse. And he is also even more divisive than Obama, and he wants to deport all these people and do all these stupid things. Who knows what's going to happen if they don't assassinate him first? I think we are seeing a huge fault line, and the people of the United States, the white people that have instituted this government, they have so much karma, and it's very doubtful that their form of government is even going to survive another year, let alone there be another 45th president. I'm sticking by my prediction that Obama is really the last president, and the events will, one form or another, will dictate that. But what an analyst or a psychic or a prophet can see in his psychic eye, or in the mirror of the heart, or in a glass ball or whatever, and he can envision or reason or whatever that he or she might do, it happens in the spirit world or in the mental world. But the world, the physical world, and the political arena itself is a type of reasoning computer that does step-by-step calculations, and the human beings and the institutions and society is the registers and is the steps that it follows. And what I reason and envision in my analysis is going to happen in a more violent, mechanical fashion in society. Towards the end of the Shah's regime, I was, Shah Trump made some conciliatory gestures, and he hired a guy. His name was Imami, I guess, to try to bridge his gap or gulf with the Islamists or religious people that were trying to topple him, or most of the population. And I was looking at that situation. I was thinking, yeah, maybe there will be some, there will be some conciliation or some intermediate government, but that's not how it happens, because that's only my thinking. Okay, in reality, what happens in society is extremely mechanical and often very violent, and subsequently everything became extremely more violent. And it was actually Khomeini that appointed an intermediate government to try to bring many government institutions in line with his government. So I mean, if Trump comes into power, there will be like a transitional form of people or organizations to try to bring very misguided and out of control government back into some type of normalcy or reasoning that the rest of society can live with. I don't think things will turn out right. Also, in one other my video, I said that the United States talent for secession, and I was looking at Infowars, and uh, the the other factions, like the people who support Trump, they're also very radical, and they, uh, they talk about this easily about secession, about Texas seceding, California seceding. I don't know. They haven't started talking about other states, but the way I look at things, I follow the karma, and in my reasoning, this place has a lot of karma, and things will not turn out nicely. Things will become violent, and either through assassinations or through public action, often violent, will result in the disintegration of U.S. government in one form or another. The very best that it could develop into is some type of commonwealth. And the other trend or idea that I'm following is that many of these institutions or organizations, they will become irrelevant, because many foreign countries, let's say Russia, China, Iran, India, many countries that humanity lives in there, and the only thing they want from United States is to keep United States out of their borders and out of their financial institutions, and keep them militarily at bay, which means that they don't really give a crap about what the United States does or produces, because all that stuff you can buy it from China, or you can invent it or do it yourself, and you don't need these guys. The only thing the United States does is start wars, and many people will get killed, and there is brinkmanship, drama, and stuff that never ends, and they suck. And many countries, they know that, and they also do not want to be undermined, and they do not want to lose their sovereignty. They don't want their financial institutions undermined. They don't want their forms of money corrupted, and some foreign bank like a Federal Reserve printing money and becomes their reserve, and they don't know what this will bring out them in the future. Many countries, they don't like strike forces that the U.S. employs to topple governments. I see a dark future for countries that pursue U.S. philosophies like Israel and Saudi Arabia, and I see see the humanity is not stupid, and they will institute broad measures to prevent these countries from undermining them. And what happens when the humanity in many countries they don't want a country is that that country will end up in financial, political, and scientific, social isolation. And you can have been seeing that in many U.S. cities. The tourism drops off. There isn't much going back and forth, and basically United States sinking into a sort of internal isolation when they have a certain ideology like North Korea, and everybody believes in that bullshit, and they're by themselves. I mean everything shuts down when you go out of this place, and basically this place needs to get back to work, to making industries, providing honest services and honest money, and stop the police state, and pursue life. And in all, if I was an investor, I would stop investing in United States bonds, in United States currency, in United States stock market. A lot of things are rigged, and the government is extremely militaristic, and it screws around with everything. That it has created a police state, and many foreigners when they come here, they don't trust the banks, they don't trust the government, they don't feel at ease because there's of all the eavesdropping and spying. It goes ditto with Israel, and many countries around Israel they're afraid of its old brinksmanship. With Israel, there will be a nuclear confrontation, and that's how it will end. Because Jewish culture is very tenacious, very persistent, and it has tried throughout ages to manipulate and overwhelm other countries with religion, with money, with secrecy, with clandestine operations, and at our age everybody knows about it, and these institutions are dead. But the final blow, I don't know how it will come. If I was going to make a list of winners and losers, let me not forget the last loser is the state of Saudi Arabia and their monarchy, and all these stupid monarchs are running around all over Middle East, and there will come a point that these Arabs will just say, I cannot deal with this anymore. These people, they don't belong to my time and my age, and democratic forms of government are going to spring up, and might be very violent. It will be internal. It will not be sponsored by Mrs. Hillary Clinton. A lot of these caliphs or whatever, they're gonna find their way to the gallows. So the list of winners and losers, starting with the losers, would be on the top would be United States. The biggest loser end up being a state like North Korea. I also lose political integrity, sovereignty will be controlled in different areas by different major politicians. Texas, California, and there will be like a superficial structure that says, "Hey, we are still United States." Okay, the second biggest loser will be Israel. There will be a nuclear confrontation in one form or another, and all these Jews will migrate to Europe or other places. And there is other psychic predictions by Edgar Casey that in 2017 many Jews have to migrate, and this has been a recurring theme of operation Exodus with Jews. It has to do with their evil culture, has nothing to do with Judaism, and they at some point they have to stop manipulating humanity, manipulating financial markets, owning and operating other people, and telling them what to do. Uh, just humanity has grown beyond those parameters, and they are an extinct animal, and nobody can bring them back. They will fall apart. The third great loser will be the Wahhabis and the ISIS and all the crap they have done in the Middle East. Humanity will not forget them and forget them. Saudi government will fall apart, and many of these monarchs they'll find their way to the gallows. The fourth loser, and this will be more like an internal implosion, would be the state of Turkey that participated in destruction of Syria, helped United States, Hillary Clinton, and Saudi Arabia, and created a lot of problems. And then it continued its dishonest relationship, and pretend to be a friend with Russia, and continue assassinating Russians, and play all sides. I think that Erdogan will have his day, and it will not be pretty. But who will come into power after Erdogan? Probably these ultra-nationalists, that were similar to Ataturk, that they do not believe in religion should be part of the government. So what will happen? They will become again a secular state, but it will be very violent because they have very bad karma, all the stuff they have done, and also they will become isolated because many countries around them do not trust them. The list of winners. Oh, let me go by another trend. That I think that because of all the criminal actions, the secret operations, overthrowing government and assassinating political leaders in other countries, influencing elections in other countries, started wars, the U.S. government is going to become so distrusted, so isolated, so that many countries like Korea, Russia, and they will just be continuously monitoring, and we are going to have the risk of preemptive strikes on United States, because many foreign leaders will come to the conclusion that we are not going to sit and just wait for these idiots to start another war, or start overthrow another government, or get a lot of people killed. And in fact, you see these ideas coming out of Russia, out of North Korea, and to some extent from China. Many countries are going to be very firm, very in your face with the American politicians, and telling them, if you do not quit, that should be right now, you will get attacked. And I did have two psychic predictions that there were, but the targets were the American politicians. They were not the public. So basically, I think there will not be a nuclear war between superpowers, but the significant persons that participated and did all this stuff, they will get their asses kicked. And if there is an economic collapse and the foreigners have to bail out the United States, they might make as a condition for bailout, or helping the U.S. get back on its feet, to turn in these politicians that have started all these people like Cheney, Bush, Clinton's, people that were influential and they committed crimes. the hey, if for example a Chinese or a Arab or a Iranian or Russian people are gonna pay off or bail these people out, they might say as condition that we want these people and we want to prosecute them. And so the universal jurisdiction is in the horizon. And just like after the World War II, there were the new Nuremberg trials. There probably will be some form of Nuremberg to deal with these individuals. Uh, the list of winners, it goes like this, and there is a criteria to determine it. Any country that was dragged into the conflict that United States started, or Qatar started, or Saudi Arabia started, and they were unwilling, and they kind of made some half-hearted attempts to go along, but didn't really want to do anything about it, and they pretty much stayed out of Syria conflict, out of Ukraine. Any country that pretty much figure out that hey, this is stupid, we are not gonna go fight all these wars, and they didn't involve their population and their money in these pursuits, they will be the future winners. Okay, and this list is pretty long. It would be Germany, Britain. They did not want any part of this, but their government kind of paid lip service. And who else? Many European countries, weak states like Greece or Italy or places that they did not like warfare, they did not like fighting with Russia, they did not believe in economic sanctions, they will become strengthened and they will learn ways to disregard or to go on with their lives or economy. Everything about them, their governments, their economy will improve, and they will put aside all these distortions or problems that the U.S. dollar or U.S. government creates in them. They're just it's like getting a cold, and after 2-3 weeks the cold goes away, uh, and you're back on your feet. But this time you got immunity. Same goes ditto with Syria, and Russia will be a big winner. Iran, India, and well, I'm not talking about Hindu nationalists and other proponents of racism. That's Indian style racism, but most of India will go on, and China will be the big winner. Many countries will be the net winner. Many international agreements and institutions will become strengthened, and people realize that when it all is done, we need to go back to these set of standards. I guess UN will be a big winner, and UN decisions or opinions will become norm. Uh, what else? The analysis for 2016, even though it didn't, some of it didn't come true, but many of them, 2 out of 3 or 2 out of 4 or 3 out of 4 is not bad, and the other groundwork for the rest of it is there. My prayer is that the humanity will go on without these institutions. Uh, the other thing is to enjoy the abundance that technology or encryption provides, and the decentralization of money, decentralization of politics will help humanity put to the side all these newcons or warmongers, deal with them on an individual basis. So, I mean, say for example, in a society like in a town, one guy, okay, one person becomes like a maniac and a serial murderer and makes rampages and that. I mean, does does life stop in that one town? No, it just that individual or that company is gonna run into trouble. It's either run into the cops or the feds, or so somebody will put an end to it, sooner or later, or incarcerated. This is in the international community. If one country or three countries they become rogue and they do all this stuff, that does not mean that international norms or ideas are disregarded. It just the letter of the law and the long hand of the law remains. It just for a few years or so, things do not go as anticipated. Uh, the the biggest trend is a very exotic knowledge or technologies are going to become increasingly available to humanity, and we are going or marching toward zero marginal cost society. And the deflation is going to hit all products or all services, uh, many institutions will become irrelevant. So basically, individuals will become extremely empowered because the different technologies will become miniaturized and fall into the hand of the public, because the public is the ultimate consumer, is willing to take out the checkbook and pay for them, and they, they become sane because the public is not interested in endless wars, endless carnage, endless stupid bond issuance. There is some sanity. So everything, every resource, it will tend to migrate towards the, the most sane individuals, most sane. So my criteria would be that would be like this: who owns Pretty Woman? The, the, the man who owns the Pretty Woman, okay, is the one that really loves her, okay, because other men will come in and have a date and try to bang her, but the one that loves her uh, will be there all the time, and she will migrate towards him in one form or another. So the same goes with technology, the same goes with peace and good relations and democracy. The, the, the people who want it, the ordinary people, the public, the, the average Joe, and the rest of humanity, they will receive these pretty women, and they will keep her. And the other guys, say they are like the CIA or the Zionists or the Wahhabis, they will use it and they do all stuff like this, but they cannot keep her. The same ideas are expressed in Quran. In verse it says